My name is Captain Adam. I have a YouTube channel. Its content consists of videos about VHS tapes, film documentaries, movie reviews, and all-around nostalgia retrospectives. But every now and again, I'll encounter a topic that does not fit into any of these categories. Topics that are too important to be ignored, least of all by me. Topics that do not fit into any of the color spectrums of black or white. Topics that are gray. And these topics are placed in the Gray Matter Files.
Gray Matter Files.
Ahoy there, mates. Welcome aboard the VHS pirate ship and welcome to the Gray Matter Files. And today, I'm going to be talking about the Ninja Turtles. More specifically, the Ninja Turtle movies. Even more specifically, the Ninja Turtle movie that completely killed the film franchise. Of course, I'm talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. So, what went wrong? The Ninja Turtles were a powerful property, a marketing powerhouse. They seemed invulnerable, unstoppable even. So how could a property that could seemingly do no wrong do just that? And how could one movie completely kill a film franchise? Turtle power? Not this time. So join me for today's Gray Matter Files, and let's talk Turtles 3. Yes, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the phenom that took the world by storm in the early 90s and really hasn't stopped since. The Ninja Turtles had a humble beginning as a comic book that started in 1984, and the popularity of this unconventional superhero quartet really took off, and soon the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a very popular cartoon show, which first aired in 1988 and ran all the way till 1995, which spawned a massively successful toy line. And you could argue which one was more popular, the cartoon or the toy line it was based on. But you don't need me to tell you how huge the Ninja Turtles were. I mean, hell, even your grandmother knew who they were. And of course, something that was so popular was just destined to have a major motion picture based upon it. Not just a major motion picture, but a live-action major motion picture, which was released in theaters March 30th, 1990. And this movie was huge. I'm talking big time. Everyone in the world was excited about this movie. And successful? Boy, was it ever. It was made on a budget of $12.5 million and took in $202 million at the box office. $202 million.
$202 million.
So yeah, it was a big deal. And a movie that was so successful was bound to have a sequel. And we got one with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze, which was released in theaters March 22nd, 1991. Only a year after the first movie was released. Now, this movie was a hit too, but seemingly not as successful as the first one. Secret of the Ooze was made on a budget of $25 million and took in $78 million at the box office. Sure, to you and me and pretty much everyone in the world, that seems like a lot of money, but if you compare that to the budget to box office ratio of the first movie, it's not all that good. I mean, it is good, but I'm sure they wanted to make much more money with it and probably thought they would have. But let us not forget that this movie not only featured Vanilla Ice, but Vanilla Ice's hit song, Ninja Rap. Yeah. And boy, does that not hold up well nowadays. You know something? I'm not even sure if it did back then. So at this time, fresh in the blossoming and blooming 1990s, the Ninja Turtles were a hot commodity. Yeah, they had a massively successful cartoon show, a huge toy line, merchandise everywhere you looked, and now 2 major motion pictures under their belts. And it was only natural to make a third movie. I mean, what's the harm? The Ninja Turtles are seemingly unstoppable. Or were they? The world would find out with the release of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, which was released in theaters March 19th, 1993. And this is where it all goes a little south, because this movie is highly regarded as terrible and has since proved that even a hot ticket item such as the Ninja Turtles could still be placed in a shitty movie. It was made on a budget of $21 million and took in $54 million at the box office. And you'll notice here that the budget to box office ratio differential is getting quite small. But perhaps that doesn't actually matter. I mean, it's not exactly a bad box office number. And besides, people went to go see this movie because it was a Ninja Turtles film. And by the time they realized they were watching shit, it was too late, because first comes the box office revenue and then the critical response, which was not good. Okay, so what happened? What went wrong? Is it really possible to kill the golden goose? The answer is, yeah, it is. So what did happen? Was this a case of the third movie curse, which I've talked about before? Was it a case of going to the well one too many times? Was the world simply sick and tired of the Ninja Turtles? At this point in time, the Ninja Turtles' popularity really didn't lose any momentum, so I'm going to say no. Yes, I believe this is simply a case of a bad decision made with a shitty storyline. Okay, so maybe shitty storyline is a bit unfair, because it is a pretty good story. As you may or may not know, the story revolves around a time scepter, a time travel device which lands the Ninja Turtles back in feudal Japan. Yes, for absolutely no reason whatsoever, the story involves time travel. I mean, why? Out of all the storylines they could have picked, including ones that already existed, they went with this one. To be fair, it is a rather interesting take on the time travel concept, or should I say, conceptor. Because as I had mentioned, time travel in this case is made possible by an object called the time scepter, which allows you to travel back in time, but the catch is, you swap places with someone from that time period, and they have to be using the time scepter at the exact same time you are, and, well, I mean, what's the odds of that happening? I mean, it's got to be astronomical. So that part of it is a little convoluted, but it's still a refreshing take on the whole time travel thing. And so the Turtles change places with samurais from feudal Japan. And these said samurais are a bit out of place in modern day New York City. And zaniness unfolds. No, it actually does. This turns into some kind of subplot where Casey Jones has to be like a babysitter to these guys. And it is a really funny part of the movie. It's just too bad there's not more of this. And it is cool to see the Ninja Turtles as samurais in feudal Japan. It's just really unnecessary. And one of the complaints about this movie, I say one of because there are many, is that the storyline, as interesting as it may be, really has nothing at all to do with the Ninja Turtles. This movie could have been about anyone. It could have included any character. It could have been a Garfield movie, for heaven's sakes. It could have been a very existential episode of the Muppet Babies. It does not require the Ninja Turtles. And the problem here is that the source material is loaded with stuff they could have done. One of the main aspects of the cartoon show is the alternate universe called Dimension X, which is a constant plot point, and a lot of people wanted to see this on film. And since they ignored this in the first two movies, people were really looking forward to seeing this in the third movie, or at least they were hoping to, but they didn't. Instead, we get Samurai Turtles. I'm just not sure why they never included the Dimension X storyline in any of these live-action movies. I mean, did they think it was too ambitious? Sure, it's ambitious, but is it any more ambitious than putting the Turtles in feudal Japan and including time travel for absolutely no reason? The point is, they went with an ambitious storyline when there was another ambitious storyline that people actually wanted to see. Another complaint about this film is the characters. Who the hell are these guys? Yeah, the villains have nothing to do with the cartoon show whatsoever. They just made them up for this movie. People, including myself, had a huge problem with this, especially considering the fact that you have tons of villains to work with. Villains that we all wanted to see in a live-action movie but were never used. You got Rocksteady and Bebop, Baxter Stockman, Krang. Where were these guys? So the other Turtle movies movies, as revered as they are not innocent of this either. For example, Secret of the Ooze was promoted as having 2 mutant villains to challenge the Ninja Turtles. And we all thought, and rightly so, that these 2 mutant villains were going to be Rocksteady and Bebop, which are 2 mutant villains on the cartoon show. And we all thought we were going to see them in the live-action movie, because we all wondered why they weren't in the first one, but you know what? Sometimes too much is too much. And we were all okay with that, and pretty much figured we were going to see them in the sequel. Rocksteady and Bebop aren't just characters, they're main characters, they're main villains, they're Shredder's henchmen. They have a constant presence on the cartoon show. So that would be enough incentive to put them in the movie, and since this movie was going to feature 2 mutant villains, we assumed it was going to be Rocksteady and Bebop. Instead, it's just 2 new mutants they just made up. Yeah, Toka and Razor. Okay? Who are these guys? Where's Rocksteady and Bebop? You had a perfect chance to put them in the movie, but you didn't. Instead, we get these 2. Stop making stuff up when there's already things we'd rather see. Now, people have since come around to liking these characters, but it's the principle. I mean, come on, you had a perfect opportunity to put Rocksteady and Bebop in the movie, which is something we want to see, but you didn't. Instead, you just made something up. But we gave them the benefit of the doubts and assumed that maybe, just maybe, Rocksteady and Bebop would be featured in the 3rd movie. But when we heard what the 3rd movie was about, and obviously was not going to feature Rocksteady and Bebop, disappointment weighed heavy on our brows. And this is a huge reason why some of us never bothered to go see it. Another reason why Turtles 3 sucks so hard is the production value. I mean, it just looks different. It looks weird. It doesn't look like the first 2 movies. In fact, it looks like you're watching a made-for-TV movie, which is a little hard to explain, but you know when you're watching a made-for-TV movie. And why do the turtles look so different? They look like crap. As you may know, the animatronic turtle costumes in the first 2 movies were provided by Jim Henson's Creature Shop. In fact, the first Turtles movie would be the last project Jim Henson personally worked on, as he would pass away in May of 1990. And before he would leave this earth, he had mentioned that he was impressed with the technology behind the animatronic costumes, but did not like the violence in the movie. And that was the majority of the searing venom spewed forth by critics about the first movie, is that it was too violent. Which is why, and you'll notice, that the Turtles don't really use their weapons in the second movie. And which is also why Secret of the Ooze is a lot kookier than the first movie is. And the 3rd movie has samurais, time travel, and shitty-looking turtles, so everything is going downhill. And these shitty-looking turtles were provided by the All Effects Company. Who are they? No clue, but I'll tell you who they're not, and that's the Jim Henson's Creature Shop. So low production value, a different effects team that gave you different looking turtles, combined with a weird convoluted storyline that has nothing to do with the source material, and you've got yourself a pretty shitty sequel. It's a tremendous shame, because there's so much they could have done with this movie. Given the time travel aspect, this movie is often referred to as Turtles in Time, but that's not correct. Turtles in Time is something entirely different. Turtles in Time is a Ninja Turtles arcade game that was released in 1991 and is way more entertaining than the movie that is mistakenly called this. In fact, they could have done better to base the movie on this game. So now I ask you, what are your thoughts? Did you like Turtles 3? Did you think it was as bad as people make it out to be? Or do you think it's a miserable piece of quivering crap to forever stain a beloved childhood franchise? Let me know in the comments below. And thus closes this Gray Matter Files. Thanks a lot for watching. Be sure to hit subscribe and share this shit. I certainly appreciate all of your support. Take care out there, and I'll see you next time, only on Captain Adam's VHS Pirate Ship.